All right, all right. How we doing, Sam?
Good, good. Sorry, just having some technical issues, but I got it.
I figured so much.
Yeah, my internet was fritzing for a minute.
That's okay.
All right, I'm letting people in.
I'm just curious. Can you share the agenda screen just so people know where we are?
So this meeting is going to be a little bit of a test run, because I've never done that before, but I'm going to try while we're here.
Okay.
There is a share. If you bring it up, there's the share screen on the bottom. You should be able to do it.
Hello, Karen. How's it going?
It's going.
You back at home or you in the East?
I came back home today.
Okay.
Going back east probably Saturday night or Sunday.
Okay.
My daughter comes back in on the 15th, and I have stuff going on the 15th, and oh God, don't even ask.
I guess that East Coast stuff works. That living out East works well for you.
It does. I at least get some exercise.
Sounds good. Oh man.
All right. So as people join, I'm just admitting them. It's a feature with the paid option, just so everyone knows that you have a waiting room. And then as people join, I just have to admit them. So as people get logged in, I'm just letting everyone in.
If you see any unusual, are we on that you put them in and you're muting them, right?
We can mute ourselves.
We can mute ourselves.
No, but I would just, okay. I just want to just be sure.
But the meeting hasn't started yet, so we can talk.
Absolutely. How's it going? How you doing, Claudia?
Hanging in there. How are you doing?
Good.
Are you going back to the schools?
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing my program virtually.
Really? Woo. God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to let me go through all 5 elementary schools, you know. There's a fear of cross-contamination. Well, I don't know if they call it cross-contamination, but. So.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And we're
the more
waiting.
places, the more possibilities.
Yeah, and we're waiting until, we see how school starts up before we even set dates to work on it.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff that's going to be in the air, at least for the first month or two.
All I know is never in my life did I expect to walk into a bank with a mask on.
Just so everyone knows, we are recording this meeting tonight. Just so I make everyone aware of that in advance. And then going forward, what I'd like to do is we're going to put these recorded meetings up onto our YouTube page so that anyone that couldn't join us tonight will be able to watch it afterwards.
Fair enough. So I got to watch my language.
Yes, everyone, if you could watch your language, these are recorded.
That's tough. Boy, I tell you. So how many do we have on the call now?
So we have 19 participants right now.
You said 9?
19.
All right, so let's get rolling. And you let the people come in as they choose to, so we're on the same page. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm hoping everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's being healthy, and I hope that the COVID hasn't gotten your spirits down. So I thank you for joining our September 10th, Thursday BCA meeting. You are truly diehard people, so I really appreciate you being here. The agenda is going to be very quick. The BCA is going to suspend with the recording secretary report, and we're going to suspend with the correspondence secretary report, just to say that we have a Zoom account. That's the big thing. We have a Zoom account.
Yeah, that's great.
What'd you say, Sam?
Nope,
Okay.
I just said, yep, we have a Zoom account now. Everything here on out will be, like I said, recorded and posted on our YouTube.
We're trying to be professional around here. We're trying to make it happen. The treasurer's report, we have 9,066,828. That's $9,668.28 in the account. And that's at Capital One. That's where we have our bank. For the rest of the agenda, I'm going to give some quick highlights, and then I'm going to turn it over to the standing committees. For most of the committee talk, you'll hear from Kimberly Malone, and you will hear from Karen Montalban. So that's how we're going to proceed. Okay. My report and the Vice President's report is very, very, very quick. During this COVID time, the BCA had taken the opportunity to meet with different developers. We started with Breslin. We met with Amendola. We met with Conifer, Bayview Terrace. Most of these meetings were virtual. Some were face-to-face. And we had a chance to get a good sense of what were the types of proposals, irrespective of what the DRI was going to give them. We had a chance to at least get an understanding of what types of proposals they were looking to put onto in the ground. So we'll get into further details about it because I'll have Karen and Kimberly speak about those. But I just want to say during this COVID time, New York State suspended the meetings. They tried to come up with a way to do them virtually. And we had our first virtual meeting with the New York State DRI yesterday. But prior to that, as I said, the BCA had a chance to speak with Conifer, Bayview Terrace, and Amendola, and each of the, and Breslin as well. And each of them has been open to our ideas to make the transit-oriented development proposals reflect what Baldwin wants, what Baldwin needs. So we've been taking a lot of pains to come up with some creative ways to make some things happen. And we plan to put their proposals as they become further developed on the website. We took an opportunity to write an opinion piece that the Baldwin Civic Association is seeking development. We have not taken a position yet because we have yet to hear from the community at large, but our aim is to bring as much information we can to the community and let the community decide what would be in the community's best interest. And the way we're going to facilitate that is through our social media and through our website. So I would encourage all participants and the public to come to the website to at least view the Conifer project and see at least a rendering of what Breslin is looking to do. Conifer's is a little further along, but that's what we have on the website, and we'll have Amendola lining up, and we'll have Bayview Terrace lining up as their projects become available. Are there any questions, Sam, from the audience?
I don't have anything in the chat yet. If anyone has any questions, let me know. If we can put them in the chat, and I'll let Darian know what they are throughout the meeting, that would be great.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Kimberly. And Kimberly, you can unmute yourself for the purposes of talking about the DRI from your perspective.
Sorry, Darian, before we move forward, we actually did just get a question. Did the BCA let the LPC know they were meeting with these developers?
They had an idea. I mentioned to Lou on more than one occasion that we would have a chance to reach out, and we thought it was in the best interest of the BCA to reach out and get as much information as possible. Yep, Lou was aware that we were doing our thing.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so Kimberly, you're up to bat from your perspective, and Karen, from your perspective, and any other updates you want to give us regarding your committee.
Okay, so Kimberly Malone, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, representing the Economic Development Committee. So I thought that the presentation last night was really informative. I think that we went over numerous developments, as Darian mentioned, and I think that many of those developments were new to many members of the community in terms of knowing that they existed and what they consisted of. And even though they were reviewed at a relatively high level, they gave a decent amount of depth. And so I think that these are proposals that everyone should go forward and try to see for those that have not happened yet, and that are going to be shared with the BCA. And definitely, I think people should give their feedback. The good thing is that there's a robust number of them to choose from. And if I recall correctly, there were about $17 million in project requests for the $10 million or the $9.7 million that we have through the DRI. The Lou and the group that was presenting made it clear that that was a good thing, that we had at least around 12 to 15 million dollars worth of proposals, because obviously some of the proposals will fall out during the course of the decision-making process. There was a significantly high number of units if you were to combine all the units that were being proposed. And so, my expectation is that some people raised the concern, and I thought it was relatively valid, that if all of them were to be approved, it would really make for a different look in our town. But certainly it's great to see that we have such a robust number of possible projects. In addition to the mixed-use development properties, which is what I'm referring to now, they also went over a number of the other projects, some of which were submitted by the BCA. So for example, the BCA had submitted a proposal for a revolving loan fund. It was actually suggested by Lou last night that the LPC consider increasing the amount of that revolving loan from the original $650,000 request to $750,000. And the intent there is to really be able to provide additional support to the small businesses in our town. So I thought that that was really significant. And it sounds as though the LPC will be voting on that the next time that they get together. So that should hopefully bring some relief to some of our small businesses. In addition to that, the revolving loan fund, which initially was intended to be for facade improvement, the scope of it was expanded to include other types of improvements. So some of the other projects that had previously been brought to the table for DRI funding requests were considered projects that could potentially go under that revolving loan fund. So I thought that that was really a positive step, because that says to me some of the things that might have potentially been excluded from the DRI process have the opportunity to still be in the process by virtue of the revolving loan fund. Although it is important to note that each of the projects that will go under there do require.
For that board there, I'm thinking.
I think that that's all that I have to share specifically with regards to the DRI. I do want to mention two things. The Economic Development Committee did meet back on July 16th, and we talked about two specific things. One was coming up with a plan for either a business crawl of sorts or a series of pop-ups to some of the local Baldwin businesses to provide some concentrated support for them through patronage. And so hopefully that's something that this group agrees with, and we can make some more efforts towards making that happen if you guys do agree. And then secondly, we have been offered the opportunity to work with a program that was going to be providing a a resource for small businesses to apply to get training that was going to take place over the course of 9 months and effectively would have been a mini MBA program. Unfortunately, we did not have the time to pull that together, but I've reached out to the source for that to see if it's something we can put into our programming for next year. So I know that was a long report, but that's all that I have. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Any questions for Kimberly?
We don't have any questions for Kimberly. I do have a quick question, if you don't mind. Was the LPC meeting recorded?
Good question. I do not think so, but it could have been.
All right.
I remember
perfect.
seeing the recording light on last night.
You did, Karen?
I don't remember seeing it on.
All right. Well, next, Karen, you're up.
Okay, so to add to Kimberly's very full report, I just would like to give you an idea of some of where the projects are. We have 3 that are going for DRI funding down on Merrick Road. There's the old diner, which is the Conifer, which I think, do we have that up on the website already? Okay, I'm asking Darian. Darian's muted. But anyway.
Yeah, sorry. We do, Rob stated that we do have that as of this afternoon up on our website. And I plan on sending an email to all of our members with everything that we discussed to Conifer, as well as renderings and the link to our website page.
Great. We have, so Conifer is going to build on the old diner site. They would be residents only. I forget how many apartments that they're looking at. The old Baldwin Kitchen and Bath, the owner of that is also looking to do mixed use, but he would need a variance because he's looking for higher density. And across the street, they're still working on that project on the corner of Merrick and Grand. And then, of course, we all know about the Breslin project, the Amendola project. There is the Malkins is also looking to expand and do a mixed use. And then the project up near the high school just outside the zone. So those are the ones that were being discussed last night as the major projects. And as you said, Sam, we're going to have information up on the website so you can take a look at it. As government liaison, we have had a meeting with Chris Carini and people from the town of Hempstead. And we asked about some questions. There seems to be movement finally at Baldwin Park. And in fact, I just got a letter today. I have to look at it more closely about a project on the east side of the park where the old Bosse's property was. And if you haven't received anything about it, I'll see if we need to share it. Also, we had a meeting with Senator Kaminsky to talk about a number of different things, just to follow up on some projects. He's going to be looking for that. And that was about it. I don't remember if we've done anything else along the way, specifically.
Any other questions for Karen?
Yeah, hi, I have a question. I don't know if I'm going through the proper channels here. I apologize if I should be commenting.
Comment, talk.
Doug Tuman. So I'm on here for 2 reasons, actually, realizing. So I'm running for Congress in the 4th Congressional. I just wanted to introduce myself to the community. But before I even say that, I'm the Commissioner of Engineering for the town of Hempstead. And I noticed you're talking.
Letter is the one I just got.
Okay. Very excited about that project. I hope the community in Baldwin is as well. I think it's an amazing project. It's basically we're turning the old Bosse's site into what I like to describe as kind of a nature walk around that peninsula over there. And I think it's a good utilization of that land. And it's doing it in a very natural way that won't be disruptive to the local community. And I think it's going to be a great asset for people who don't normally get to enjoy the shore, that are a little further upland, that can come out and walk along the promenade over there. It's also going to be a great spot for kayaks to launch. So that project is moving forward. We're kind of in the final phase of just getting, comments and feedback from the community, although we've already been quite engaged with them already. And then the project should be moving forward, full speed ahead. The design is already 100% complete. Go ahead.
There was something about you having available, I guess, the site plans and some other information, as well as being able to do the input on the Town of Hempstead website.
Correct. So there's if you go to the Town of Hempstead website, you should be through the letter. You can navigate there. Without the letter, I think you should still be able to find it on the Town of Hempstead website. If you go to the engineering page, basically, yeah, we have the plans posted there, and we're accepting comments from the community on the plans. It has already been passed along through the community through various meetings that we've had in person pre-COVID, but just as one final gesture for input, we're putting it out there again to get some final comments. There was a little kickback from the most local part of the community that lives directly across from the peninsula, a little concerned about the usage of that land, but I think most people in Baldwin are excited about it and see it as, I hope, would see it as a positive contribution to the community.
For myself,
Thank you so
I
much.
like it. So.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
And and I also want to say, I don't know if it's the proper venue. You can stop me if it's not. I'm Doug Tuman, and I'm, as in addition.
It's not. It's
Okay.
not at this time.
I'll end it right there. I'll end it right there.
Okay, but I appreciate you giving us the insight that you provided for the audience. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. The DRI, as everyone adds, when we speak about the DRI, we think of it as just, as the BCA thinks of it, just as a funding source. And there's still the whole question about whether or not we still go through the Town of Hempstead, whether or not these plans will ever get developed. Right now, we have 13 projects that is before the LPC that we have to find funding for. And the LPC has been given the mission between here and the next community meeting to vote on these projects. Two of the projects which the BCA is looking to get sponsors for, and that is the downtown, that's the marketing program benefiting Baldwin, as well as the arts project, the beautification component. So I want to put that out there, that these two projects have yet to have sponsors, and the Civic is going to reach out to other groups to see if they could be of some help to make that happen. With the remainder of the DRI as it is, we were encouraged to take our vote and the $17.1 million projects asked for and get it down to between 14 to 15 million, and whittle it down after that to 9.7, depending upon if those projects move forward or not. As it appears, the $9.7 million is still available. That seems to be the impression that was given to the meeting members yesterday. So the good point is that it seems that the DRI is going to end its the tabulation by the end of October. They want to be finished by November. So with that in mind, as all the LPC members will have to do, they will have to look through the projects, and with the help of the criteria that Lou gives us for a scorecard, we'll be able to score these projects and see how well we will fund them. A lot of the projects are new. We were only aware, the BCA was only aware of a few of them, the Conifer and the Bayview Terrace, but the Grand and a few other projects were new to us. So we, like everybody else, is going to be advocating for the best projects on the BCA side. But as a member of the LPC, my role is to take the projects and vote with the LPC members who are different stakeholders in the community at large. These stakeholders either have an organization or have a voice of reason that allows people to discuss issues or concerns, and they have their ears to the ground. The LPC did not meet during the COVID scenario. I do not believe there was even a suggestion of the LPC meeting, and I don't know if there was an interest of the LPC meeting due to the fact that things between the state was so abruptly dropped. There was no direction, nothing given, so the LPC did meet. As a member of the Baldwin Civic Association and advocating for this transit-oriented development and being part of the total conversation about the zoning, the BCA, as it always has done in the past, is reach out to the organizations and offer an opportunity to discuss them. And we bring that information to our BCA meetings as we try to do. We had a hiatus over the summer, so there wasn't a lot that we could discuss. So we're bringing the information to you now. And the renderings, as I said, we've just got recently the first rendering from Conifer. So we have a whole series of renderings to present. They were not ready over the summer. They weren't ready to present. And many of the developers wanted to showcase it at the DRI. And once it was mentioned at the DRI, it could now be publicly shown. And so we respected that, and we wanted to be sure that we was working as a partner with them as we help them design and lay out their renderings that would be best suited, based upon our architect's experience. And we had a lot of collaboration. So it wasn't just what we thought. There was a lot of collaboration that took place over several months. And so we took the initiative to try to get the information to the public. The Breslin Project, we met with them, and Conifer. All these groups we met with because they wanted to bring the information to the community, and we were the conduit by which they chose to do it. And so we were willing to help them achieve their ends. Yes, Steve, go ahead.
You mentioned that there's a scoring system that will be used by the LPC. Yes. Can you share what that scoring system is?
Well, I haven't gotten it yet, but I can tell you what it was like the last time. The last time the scoring system was set up where we were ranking A to F or A to D, whatever the projects were. And independently, they would ask us, we could discuss it among ourselves, but independently, we gave a rating based upon what the project stood for. So, for example, when we were looking at doing I think the best way to look at it, we were trying to do what's the project that didn't get? Okay, the infrastructure project we were looking to do that was out there. Many of everyone got around the room and said, no, we don't want to do that one. So in the beginning, there was like 20 projects on the list, and we were given the assignment to look at each one, A through F. And A was continued, F didn't make it, and as the meetings was moving along, they would let us know which ones didn't make the cut. And that was just based upon the criterion that they had with VHB in New York State. I assume the criteria will change based upon the level of, I guess the criteria may change based upon us moving closer and closer to the deadline. So that's how I see it, but I haven't got the scorecard yet.
Well, I think that the scorecard is critical.
Yes, it is.
And we should not just accept the scorecard that the consulting group puts forward without it being discussed by the LPC with some input from community groups.
Well,
I mean, for example, it seems to me that one of the criteria we might want to say is none of these private developments receives more than 10% of the total cost of their project, so that we can spread the money further.
I agree with you.
That that they demonstrate financial and professional capability. I mean, some of these groups are longstanding developers and they have a record of performance, and a couple of them probably have never developed housing before, and that ought to be taken into account. And whether they, to what extent they add attractive facade or community improvements to the area. So I'm just saying these are examples of things that I would like to see being put on the table before you start evaluating proposals. The criteria needs to be flushed out.
All right, I'll bring it up. I'll certainly bring it up when we have the LPC scorecard meeting. I will certainly do that. I will certainly do it. Thanks for that advice, Steve. I appreciate it.
Darian?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. On the subject of, since you're talking about DRI and LPC, and I attended that Zoom meeting last night, I just think it's, as I said last night, I just think it is so crucial that the community knows, and Kimberly, your recap was great, but the fact that there are 5 massive residential projects, and yet not one of them was able to provide any, they weren't there, I understand that, but it doesn't sound like there's much retail coming in at all, which is clearly what we started out with way back when, and we continue talking and discussing about is getting businesses in here. Some of these projects are massive, as you know. We were all shocked that, and everybody was upset that 5 stories was going to be Breslin. And then Nick and Mike, who I emailed today, come in with 7 stories at the railroad at 775 Brooklyn Avenue, which I think is way too big. I support the project because it is right there. I understand what he's saying, and I just love Mike. But nothing is being decided about retail, and each of these big buildings are minimal amounts of retail. So, and as Kimberly also said, nearly 500 additional units. And that is not at all what the community was looking for or the LPC has been working on. So
to answer your question, to cut to the chase, the only project that doesn't have a retail base right now is Conifer. All the other ones have a retail base.
Right, a few little stores. I'm talking about like getting that whole downtown, which we've all been talking about, getting all these empty storefronts. And with all of these massive, units with 1 and 2 bedrooms, and, you had that information that you provided. And Dr. Kami was also concerned because if you have nearly 500 units, how many people are coming into town? We were concerned about Breslin. And like I said, I support that project and I support Nick and Mike. But, oh my God, this could be an absolute horror.
It could, but I don't believe so. I think as far as we know, let me just finish this thought. When it comes right down to it, most of the development is not happening in the desired location. I think we can all agree that our aim was to have something happen in the Grand and Merrick section. What has happened
Darian froze.
Darian?
He froze.
He did.
Well, let me jump in while he's getting unfrozen. Linda, I think we share your frustration that main section between Sunrise and Merrick Road is not the principal area that development is taking place.
Right,
But there's nothing we can do if we don't get proposals.
right,
And, you know, we've been trying, when we've met with Conifer, we asked, you know, is there anything you can do with that area? And he said, well, he had met with the guy who owns the vacant lot. And he said that if he could acquire that, that would make a great bookend, you know, to put another project together. But I think the owner of that project, of that property, wants to do something of his own. He had
Right.
already submitted something a couple of years ago that was rejected by the town, but would probably be accepted now if he came back in.
right, right.
I think that the theory that we might have to accept is if you increase, and this is what Breslin had said to us, you'll never get downtown redevelopment unless you increase the density of people who are there. So
Right.
that if there are people living there, then services will develop to meet their needs. The other factor that we have to, I think, consider is the whole retail structure of the country has collapsed.
Right, that was my other
And
point.
so I think nobody wants to invest a lot of money into retail space when they have no assurance that it's going to be occupied and utilized. And I think that's one reason we haven't seen any of the big chains or anybody else express an interest in this area.
Right, and that's exactly the problem. I was shocked at these projects, the size of them, the locations of them. It literally, like Darren said, came out of nowhere, basically. And they're all developments and housing. And, you know, like I said, Nick's project, it was flabbergasted me when I saw the size of that and the rendering of it. I mean, that is way, to me, that's way too big. Breslin at least is 5 stories, which goes with that area. Doesn't go over, the fire department can get there and everything else. I think they can go up to 7 stories of fire department, but not past that. So we're really at the tip on Brooklyn Avenue. And you're right, and that's what we discussed last night about the retail. So here we go, unfortunately, again for Baldwin, you know, we have these projects that some will be really great, but all we're gonna have is people. And we're not, and I get it. I get that then it goes, hopefully it's a domino effect. We hope, but I'm just so concerned. I'm shocked about these projects. Yeah, Karen.
All right, Karen, go ahead.
One of the things that I will say is that, and you've noticed this probably last night, Linda, is that a number of these projects, only like 2 of these projects are building within the zoning overlay. All of them are asking for variances. And that's going to, you know, that's going to affect a lot of what is going to happen there as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to play out either.
True, true.
Okay, so
Okay.
Are there any other questions on the table not related to the DRI? Because
So, okay, yeah. So let me go through the list if you don't mind. We do have a few questions. So you, I guess, Darian, just tell me how you want me to do it. Do you want me to just read the questions from the side?
yeah, that's fine.
I know a couple of them, actually, I believe Deborah Millet could answer for me. So I'm just gonna go through them because none of them are really DRI related, but we do have a few.
Okay.
Deborah, could you speak about what's going on with the beach club?
Yes. Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
The Oakwood Beach Club, as you may or may not know, is now, well, it's a property that is quite frankly a blight on the community. It hasn't been used since before Sandy. Since that time, it was bought for tax liens. The tax liens have not been paid. There's over $500,000 due to the county in tax liens, and so it's going up for auction. There are numerous deed restrictions and DEC restrictions, so it makes it tricky for a developer to want to buy it. So it's a real problem. But what I will tell you is that next week on the, I believe it's the 17th. Yes, the 17th at 8 p.m. And I will get information to the BCA as soon as I have it. We're going to be setting up a Zoom meeting for particularly for the people, the residents who live around there. But other people are welcome to join, just to get out whatever accurate information there is, so that we're not operating on rumors and, gee, wouldn't it be nice to do this? But unfortunately, you can't do it due to the deed restrictions, and to find out what's happening with the auction. So that is the story.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And now, Gloria, are you still with us? I know you had a question regarding facade improvement on Grand Avenue. Is Gloria still with us? There she, yeah, if you want to just unmute
Okay.
yourself.
No,
I think you can better
I have
explain.
not been to one of your meetings for a long time. I don't know if you're even talking about facades, but Baldwin really needs facade improvement. Is this part of anything that's going on?
Yes. Within the DRI, the New York State is allocating, well, with the town of Hempstead's blessing as well, $600,000 would be to do facade improvements. But not
Okay.
just facade improvements, but just they're trying to help small businesses do some curb appeal, facade improvements, energy efficiency. So it's a combination of things. We have yet to write the full eligibility and criteria, but in it, the basis of it is a facade improvement. And
Good.
we in the Baldwin Civic Association has been advocating for that since day one.
Absolutely. I've been in this town for 55 years and we needed it then.
Okay, good to hear. Good to know.
If I may add, that's the one in which they recommended that the LPC consider actually increasing the amount,
Right.
600,000 by another 100,000, I believe.
Hi,
Good.
Mrs. Cordero. Hi, Mrs.
Yep.
Cordero.
Hi, how are you, Linda?
I'm good.
All right, so Sam, what you got next?
Sure. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to mute everyone again, just so we can make sure we get to all the questions. I do know that Susan Coles is here
Yes.
on behalf of the school board as school board representative. She just wanted to give some updated information. So if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, I can run upstairs and show you how to do it if you need me to.
I know how.
Yeah.
But, good evening, everybody. So nice to see you all. I just want to make everybody aware, if you're not, that on October 1st, from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the district office, we will be having voting on Innovation 2020. I'm sure you all remember the presentations about this project. And, you know, we have had one or two people ask, well, why now? We're in the middle of a pandemic. And I would like to just answer that by saying we have had many, many people in the community contact us and ask us to do so. You know, so we want to listen to the community, and obviously there is a great interest in doing this. So we are putting this up for a vote. And another thing to keep in mind is this project, again, if you go back and remember the renderings and the different projects involved, and then you think about the challenges that we are facing right now, you know, in this epidemic, going back to school, you know, and you think about the projects that would be done in Innovation 2020, they certainly would help us deal with anything like this. So, you know, this project would really give us great preparedness for the future. So I hope everybody will come out on October 1st and vote whatever your viewpoint on this, because, you know, in the end, that's what we're putting it in the hands of the community, and, you know, we'll let the community speak. but I want to make sure everybody's aware of this. Thank
Cool.
you very much.
Susan, can you submit to us just the information so we can put it on our website and as well as put it on our social media? If you have any links like that, I would really appreciate that if you could do that. And if you have, and I don't remember if we ever had the drawings, if we still have the old drawings in our file, then we can bring them out just to show, just to re-show what was the ideas and the renderings. Would that be helpful, you think?
I can certainly get that to you, Darian, as well as all of this is on our website, but you know, we want it to also be on the Civic website, so I will make sure you have all of that.
Thank you.
Steve had a
Susan, I have
question.
may I ask a question?
Sure.
For those of us who voted absentee the last time, are those ballots invalid? We have to vote again?
Well, you voted absentee not in the Innovation 2020 vote because that was never held.
Well,
Yeah, I think there was some confusion, Steve. They held the school board trustee vote, but Innovation 2020 was actually
separate.
canceled because it was supposed to happen right in the beginning of the pandemic and they canceled it.
all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions?
I think we're good.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sue.
Darian, we do have a question, and maybe Deborah, you could answer this for us, regarding the deed restrictions for the beach club. Do you know
Right.
anything about those?
Very little. I do know that it has to do, but here's what I can suggest. If you're interested in finding out more, you can go to the Maltz auction website, MALTZ, and you can find the property pretty easily because they have a tab for finding auctions, and then you'll obviously know which one it is. And it's got a lot of information that might answer some of those questions. MALTZ.
To piggyback on what Deborah said, I'm sure when she holds her community meeting around at the time, we'll have more information about the deed and we'll be able to explore it further by the time she has a Zoom meeting.
Yes, there will be people there who have long histories with the beach club on the call who will definitely have good and historical understanding of everything that's happened.
That would be the best. That would be the best source. I would encourage everyone to be a part of it. As soon as we get the information, we'll distribute it.
Just FYI, I just read the deed, and there are a few restrictions in there. They can all be changed by the board, Town of Hempstead Board.
Okay, sounds good, Matthew. We'll look into it.
These may all be thrown out.
Okay, okay. Thanks for the help. Thanks for the update. I have to look at it myself. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but thank you. Sam, what are we doing?
Yes. I just put it out there. Does anyone else have any other questions? I don't have any other questions in the chat, unless you had something that maybe I missed. I apologize, but if you do, now's the time. Let us know.
As they come up, we'll continue to move on. Just out of curiosity, we have a quality of life committee, but there's no quality of life report right now. I would just encourage anyone, if they have a quality of life concern, that they would email the Baldwin Civic at Gmail. If they have any questions about, whether it be noise or whatever there may be, please let us know so that we can be aware of it and try to get the right resources to address the nuisance of problems. I think Diane has a question about when is it, so I guess that could be answered with.
Yes, when is the meeting for the beach club?
That is going to be a Zoom meeting on the 17th at 8 p.m. Yes.
And Deborah, if you would like to, if you could email the Civic with that information,
yeah,
we can make sure it gets out to everyone.
Be happy
Absolutely.
to. I have a couple more things, but I will wait until new business. If that's
we're at new business right now, so.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yes, we are.
So I just want to let everyone know a couple things. First, about the arts project, the DRI arts project. I know that they are looking for a sponsor. My office has been contacted about that. We are investigating to see whether the Parks Department possibly could be a sponsor of the project. We don't have an answer yet, but you know, we are still looking into that.
Okay, that's good news.
Yep. And Erica Hill, who I think is still on the call. There she is. Okay. Mentioned to me today that on the 19th is National Cleanup Day. And I don't think, Erica, that we can get a project on the 19th. It's a little too soon, but I have been in touch with Judy Griffin's office, Assemblywoman Griffin's office. She's very interested. And so we're looking to get something not next week, but possibly the week after, a cleanup project in Baldwin in honor of that day. We have to figure out a way to do it so that it is Corona responsible. And I think we can. I think we can do that. And then just the final thing, I just want to mention that on Tuesday at the Baldwin Historical Society, we're having a COVID, my office is sponsoring a COVID Heroes celebration. I've asked various organizations around the 5th District to nominate people who have really gone above and beyond in their capacity as essential workers during the COVID crisis. While, you know, so many of us were able to be home and be safe, these people had to be out. And so my office is going to be honoring these people. This is just informational. Unfortunately, I really can't invite people because due to COVID, we have to restrict it to 50 people, and we're very close to that limit right now. But I just wanted to let you know that that we are celebrating and honoring some of these essential workers. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you, Deborah. I really appreciate it. Keep us posted about the Parks Department. That would be a major coup if we could get that. That would be a great thing. As far as my agenda, there is no fundraising. There's no fundraising, as you can imagine, but we're looking for some ideas for fundraising. Just to keep that in mind. Oktoberfest probably would not happen this fall in the way we know it. So we're looking to come up with some more creative fundraising ideas. Please, by all means, share them. We always check out email. We always try to respond at least within 24 or 48 hours, but certainly give us a reach out if there's something that you have thought about for fundraising ideas that will be fun for the community at large. I would really appreciate that. There will be no membership report. Okay, so new business, we were talking about nominating committee for executive board elections. If anyone has an interest in serving on the nominating committee that we'll have to set up for next month, I would encourage you to reach out to our email, thebaldwincivic@gmail.com, for the purposes of joining or being a member of the nominating committee. So it's on a first come, first served basis. We'll gladly enjoy the participation of all of the membership, people who have the time to help us set up for our nominating committee and get our nominations prepared for our slate for our elections in November, December. I have no other questions. I have no other comments at this time. And are there any other questions of us?
Did I miss the treasurer's report?
Excuse me?
Did I miss the treasurer's report?
Yes, you did.
Oh, okay. Samantha, could you email the treasurer's report to me?
So I'm actually going to, this whole meeting is being recorded, and I'm going to be putting the recording on YouTube, on our YouTube page, and then I can send the link. I'm going to email the link to everyone, so anyone that missed this meeting can still watch.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, sure.
Sam, do we have any other questions from the audience? Anything of pressing?
Sure. So Erica Hill, quickly. Erica, would you like to just jump in and ask your question regarding the census?
So yeah, my question is just that the census deadline is September 30th. It's kind of an all hands on deck. I know back when I was at the comptroller's office, I did an event with Legislator Muley and the census. And when we put the numbers for Baldwin, they were very inaccurate. So while Baldwin is not considered a quote unquote hard to count community, it's still important that we get as close to 100% as we can. And I know we're not there yet. So just any communications that are going out in emails to remind folks to complete the census. I know, yeah, anything that we can do just to
definitely
the final 2 weeks, I think would be really helpful.
Yeah, I understand they're thinking about extending it, or there was a lawsuit about it.
There is, because the original date was supposed to be October 31st. And then they, in the midst of that, they said, no, we're going to push it to September 30th, which has caused a serious problem because the enumerators just went out in August. And they're already having a tough time trying to get people, obviously because of COVID, to answer the door or even respond. So
yeah, I mean, the COVID situation happened. People were panicking not to open the doors for strangers. So come on, you got to give them the time. Okay, so census is important. Okay, so we'll make sure we put communication as well about that. Thank you, Erica.
Yeah, we'll do a big push for the census. I do apologize. I thought the deadline was in October as well. So. I thought we had a little bit more time.
Obviously they.
Yeah, so we'll get it out there for sure.
Okay. Is there any other announcements anyone wants to make? Any organizations that have an announcement they want to make? Okay. So this pretty much concludes where the Civic Association. Is there any comments? I think I saw a comment. Any question, or was that a comment?
That was just a comment. I want to reiterate, I'll be sending out, this is recording right now, so as soon as this uploads, probably I would say tomorrow's Friday, I'm a volunteer. I'll get it up over the weekend and make sure that I send out the email over the weekend with the recording, so if we miss anything, you'll be able to rewatch it.
Yeah, and the final thought, Sam is looking to have a committee help her with her social postings and getting out and grabbing information and helping her. So she's looking for a committee of 2 or 3 people that can really help her push out some of the information that we have. So if you know of any person, young person, older people who got some time, we would really appreciate it if you could help us out. We really would appreciate the help. Because I said a lot of things we during this COVID time, we're pretty much relying on social media and our website to get information out. And it's interesting that, a meeting is great because we can capture a lot of people, but we get the information in dribs and drabs. And sometimes it's hard to pull it all together and have it prepared for a meeting, but we can get it out as it comes in. We would greatly appreciate you giving Sam a hand and making her job a little easier. As the focal point for us, the Baldwin Civic Association, during this COVID-19 pandemic. So with that, I say I bid everyone a good evening, and I wish everyone stays safe and healthy. And any links that we have or any information we have will be on our website. We try to get it out there as quickly as possible. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone's staying on the call. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for helping out. I really appreciate it. You did a great job.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Okay.
Bye.